let me clear something up. Shelly's disappearance was devastating. Horrible. It hung over the town of Dowley like an ever-present dark cloud. Everyone that had gone on that fateful camping trip gave a statement to the police, all of us. That night, John, Melissa, and I spoke to the deputies, surrounded by the black woods, voices echoing in the cool air, and if you listened back to my statement and compared it to what is written here, you would notice some differences. You would notice some big differences. I lied. I lied to the police about what happened, but you're going to understand why I didn't, why I couldn't tell the truth. It was for my own sake and for Shelly's. The beginning of the story, though, isn't that different from what I said in my statement. It was a camping trip. Not much more to say. The four of us piled into my Honda Civic and we drove down the unkempt highway. It snaked northwards, the landscape shifting from endless prairies to woodlands. The forests north of Dowley are sparse, less dense and less intimidating than the forests of the west. It was the end of summer of our senior year, and our lives were all about to change. I was going to the University of South Dakota, moving out of our town for the first time. John was starting trade school in a few weeks, which would give him the foundation of his career as an electrician. His brother, Oliver, had been badly injured earlier that summer, and I think he was determined to put it behind him. Melissa was about to depart on a whirlwind trip around Europe, the beginning of a decade-long gap year. And Shelly was planning on attending the Gage River Community College. A country girl through and through. That summer had been hot and dry, full of flies and full of forest fires. Smoke choked the air for most of July and August, which you could taste when you took a deep breath. Even still, during the drive, John insisted that I keep the windows down, that I let the wind blow through our hair as we sped down the highway, and what John wants, John gets. I still remember turning to the right and seeing Shelly, seeing her blonde hair flying in the wind, streaming backwards as she lounged in the passenger seat. She had this careless smile on her face, as though nothing, not even the end of the world, could shake her happiness. I envied that. I had never been able to achieve that pure, unadulterated joy that others seem to get the benefit of. "I think your driving is getting worse, Vince." Shelly turned towards me, and I snapped my head back to the road, hands flexing on the wheel. "Oh, he's swerving like a grandma." John hit the back of my head. "Eyes on the road, you doofus." I chuckled and tried to force the embarrassment away. But now, I'm glad I got that look at her. I think that was probably the last good look I got of her before she changed, before everything changed. The sun had begun its descent in the sky as we pulled off of the highway and turned onto a thin gravel road. Evening beams of light, yellow and brilliant, streamed through the trees as we drove down the road towards Golden Pines Campground. Eventually, it brought us to a small log cabin. I parked outside, walked in, and confirmed with the camp attendant which plot of land we were getting, and then I hopped back into the car and drove us there. It was one of the last ones in the campsite, somewhat isolated from the rest of the grounds. It was a circular clearing surrounded by woods. It was one of those late summer days where the sun seemed determined to set as quickly as possible, so it didn't take very long for the sky to turn a deep blue, then a purple, then a black. Night came upon us like a heavy, cold blanket. We set up our campsite like we always did, every year. We pulled out our large tent, our sleeping bags, we started a fire and placed some chairs around the pit, and finally, just as our stomachs began to rumble, John pulled out the cooler from the back of the Honda, and then he shut the trunk with a dull whack. "Anyone down for a hot dog?" he said, plopping the cooler on the ground. "Any takers?" Obviously, none of us declined, which was just fine with John. He liked to show off. He had always been that way. He pulled on a long hoodie and began cooking us hot dogs over the fire, serving the ladies with a wink. Shelly chuckled as she took hers and smeared it with ketchup. Back then, I had been so sure that John and Shelly would end up together. The footballer and the cheerleader. Two blonde, blue-eyed beauties destined to make beautiful, adorable children. But John's life changed after that summer. Between his brother's injury and Shelly's disappearance, something inside of him shifted. Who would have thought that John, a star quarterback, golden boy, would end up spending every night at the local bar drinking his sorrows down, staring at the bottom of a glass? For my part, I sat at the edge of the fire, keeping my eyes trained on the surrounding woods. I was in a contemplative mood that night, and I didn't talk much. I ate the hot dog that John had given me with a silent appreciation. As the evening progressed, the shadowed forest only grew darker and darker, as though a malevolent force was approaching us, getting closer with every second. In an hour, I couldn't see past the tree line, and the only bastion of light was the flickering, sputtering fire in front of us. Looking back, I think about that darkness, about what was lurking inside of it, about how close I was to meeting the same fate that Shelly did. It makes me shiver. But on that night, I was focused on my friends. I was focused on having fun. I had no idea what was about to happen. When it was well and truly dark, pitch black, John brought out a few drinks and we spent the next couple of hours shooting the shit, boozing, playing games. I can hardly remember the specifics of it. It's so overshadowed by the events that happened after. But I do remember one conversation from that night. "Guys, is this it?" Shelly asked at one point, her cheeks flushed. Alcohol always made her face go red. "Is this what?" Melissa leaned back in her chair and stared up at the stars. "Is this the last time we're going to get together like this?" Shelly took another sip. "I mean, Vince is going down to South Dakota, and you're going to Europe." "I'm coming back," Melissa said. "What if you meet a handsome Frenchman?" Melissa chuckled. "Well then, it was nice knowing you." "Chill out, Shelly," John said. He stood up, opened the cooler, and grabbed another drink. "But don't get so dramatic about this. We're going to see each other again. We've graduated high school, that's all." I can't help but feel like things are about to change." "Nothing is going to change." John took his seat next to Shelly and patted her on the shoulder. He was wrong. God, it's so hard to tell this story. It's so difficult to put these words on a page. Shelly. I want to reach through the last 10 years and grab Shelly. I want to shake her and tell her that she needs to go, that she needs to leave. I want to force myself to get up and insist that we pack up the tent and drive back. I can see myself sitting there around the campfire doing nothing, and I just want to slap myself in the face, but I'm stuck. All I can do is watch what happened through the fog of my memory. Helpless. Completely helpless. We went to bed soon after that conversation. The four of us piled into our tent, into our 4 separate sleeping bags. We made a few jokes and then turned out the lights, plunging the world into darkness, ceding the last bit of space we had to the shadow. In an instant, it had consumed us, just like it had consumed the forest. Compared to the dry heat of the day, the night was chilly, a promise of autumn in the air. I pulled the thin sleeping bag around me and tried to keep warm, shivering slightly when a gust of wind blew through our tent. Somehow, sleep found me. I drifted off into a dreamless void. The last time I would have a truly good night of sleep, the last time that I wasn't afraid of the dark. I don't want to write about what happened next. But I need to. I need to prove to myself that I'm not insane, that I didn't just imagine this whole thing. I need to warn others about this, prepare them for similar situations. There are things out there in the darkness. I hope you never have to experience what I went through, but I hope you tread carefully. Don't let them trick you. Please don't let them trick you. Don't follow them. I awoke to John shaking me, saying something. It took me a moment to comprehend the words coming out of his mouth. She hasn't come back. Bathroom. It's been 30 minutes, man. What? I rubbed my eyes and sat up. The tent was being lit by an overly bright electric lantern. Melissa was zipping up her sweater and pulling open the front flap. Shelly went to the bathroom 30 minutes ago, Melissa said, a slight anxiety in her voice. We just want to go check on her. She hasn't come back. Why didn't you wake me, Mel? I would have gone with her. John ran a nervous hand through his long blonde hair. I would have walked with her. How could I have known this would happen? She gulped. I thought I saw a tear in her eye. She was a sensitive girl, she still is. I don't think she ever got over the disappearance of her best friend. She said she was going to the bathroom. She told me she would be right back. I didn't think twice. Well, maybe you should have. All right. I groaned, yawned. She's fine. There's no need to start snapping at each other. I lifted myself out of my sleeping bag and pulled on a hoodie. Let's just find her and get back to bed. Yeah? I don't know if I was being practical, realistic, brave, or if I was just being stupid. Was the fog of my recent sleep clouding my judgment? Should I have been more concerned? No, I truly thought that she was fine. I thought that we would walk to the small brick structure at the front of the road, the bathroom, and I thought that we would find her. We went there. We walked to the dimly lit bathroom. John led the way, holding on to a lantern, keeping back the blackness. Melissa and I followed, yellow-beamed flashlights scanning the road in front. The dark forest was all around us, pressing in, watching. It took us less than 5 minutes to walk there, but it felt like an eternity. When we got there, Melissa went inside the female half of the bathroom and came out shaking her head. What? John asked. She's not in there. Melissa bit her lip. She looked around nervously. What? Did you check all the stalls? I asked. She nodded. Empty. They were all empty. John paced, his breath coming faster. Where is she? She's fine, I said. Well, how do you know? John's voice had a hint of anger. After Oliver's injury, John had been infected with a tense, taut irritability. That was new. Because we're in the middle of a large campsite. We're safe. She's fine, John. Then where is she? I shrugged. Let's find her. I was acting more calm than I was feeling. I was overcompensating for the seed of dread that had pitted itself in my stomach. We retraced our steps, shining our lights into the darkness of the forest around us, revealing nothing but trees and bush. Quickly, we reached our camp and shined our lights around the clearing. We looked around for a few minutes, searching every inch of space. Wait. John stopped walking. He went completely still. Silence. He looked to the side, into the forest. He lifted up his lantern, peering into the darkness. Did you hear that? What? Melissa walked up beside him, clearly listening. I didn't hear anything. Maybe the rustle of a bat or the distant call of a fox, but I didn't hear Shelly. Not at that point, at least. But John clearly did hear something, because he sprinted into the woods, sliding through the trees, lantern leading the way. Shelly? Shelly, where are you? John, wait! Melissa ran after him, her light trained on him. Wait! I almost followed them. I should have followed them. I didn't follow them. I watched them go deeper and deeper into the woods. I watched their light disappear from my sight. I shivered in the cool night air. In a matter of moments, all of my friends had gone and it was just me. I shined my flashlight into the tent, into the car, and into the woods. Nothing. There was nothing. Just the chill darkness, just the ever-present wood, just the goosebumps on my skin. There was nothing until there was something. Vincent. I turned, spinning around to face the voice. As I did that, my flashlight sputtered out and died. The darkness consumed me again. I never got a clear picture of what came from the woods, but I will tell you what I remember, just like I said I was going to. The main thing I remember is the darkness. The darkness. I don't want to keep writing this. I don't want to keep writing this. Am I going to summon whatever that was? I don't want to retell this story. This shouldn't be. It shouldn't have happened. I see the darkness in front of me now, outside of my window. Is there a figure standing in the black? Just the shape. I don't know. But what if there is? Vincent. It was Shelly's voice. I recognized it. I knew it well, and near the edge of the campsite, standing in front of the woods, was a figure. As my eyes adjusted in the darkness, I could make out more features. Blonde hair, sweater, shining eyes, a smile. It was Shelly. Shelly had come back to the camp, but I didn't feel happy. No, I didn't feel happy at all. Jesus Christ, Shell, where have you been? I almost took a step towards her, but then I didn't. I can't tell you why I didn't. It must have been the animal, unconscious survival instinct inside of me, the thing screaming at me that this was wrong, wrong. Her voice carried with the wind, almost an echo. I got lost. Lost? Oh, this campsite is not that big, Shelly. Did you bring a flashlight? She paused. A silence stretched between us, a strange tension in the air as if that question had been a challenge. Flashlight? No. No. Then, in the darkness, I saw her raise her hand and wave at me. I barely saw it, but I know that's what she did. I saw her palm, I saw her fingers in the air, and I saw her wave at me. It was like she was seeing me from the other end of a crowded mall, like she was trying to get my attention. Shelly, what are you doing? I got lost. She took a step forward. I shook my head. I was too close to her. I was way too close to her. I took a step back, creating some more distance. Shelly, are you all right? Again, I saw her wave. Her hand was in the air for 5 seconds, her head tilted to the side, mouth contorted in a weird, rictus grin. It was vague, seen through the curtain of darkness, but I saw it. I did. I got lost, Vincent. I got lost. I know, you've told me. I got lost. Shelly, but I found something. I found something interesting in the woods, Vincent. I want to show you what it is. I think you'll like it. Something awful welled inside of me, a deep dread, a horrible, nagging wrongness, a blazing, consuming fear. All I wanted was some light. I flicked my flashlight off and on. It wasn't working. I looked around for something, but I didn't see anything that I could use. The darkness had swallowed me whole, like it was a monster and Shelly was its tongue. We should wait for John and Melissa to come back, I said. My flashlight, it's not working. I found something interesting in the woods, Vincent. I think you'll like it. I think you'll like it. Her voice. It was Shelly, but it was different. I can't explain it. It was like hearing her talk from the other end of a hallway or from a different room. We should wait. Again, she took a step forward. Again, I took a step back. Again, she waved. This time, it lasted longer, as though she was frustrated that the gesture wasn't working. I could have sworn that there was someone standing behind her in the woods. There was a figure back there. A black figure, but it wasn't moving, so I don't know what it was. Why are you doing that, Shelly? My voice got soft. I felt like I was talking to a predator, a grizzly bear, a mountain lion, something that was about to rip my face off. Again, thinking back, I know that was probably some sort of survival instinct kicking in, the thing that kept my ancestors alive. I found something in the woods, Vincent. I want you to come and see it. You need to come and see it. You need to come with me, Vincent. I found something in the woods that you will like. Vincent, you need to come with me. Another step forwards. A chill wind blew, colder than any summer wind had the right to be. More goosebumps, more shivers. No, we should wait. Come with me. Come with me. She seemed to be getting closer and closer without moving. I still couldn't make her out completely, but I could see that grin, and it wasn't leaving her face. Her eyes were shining in the darkness like a cat. I looked back, desperate for Melissa or John to return. Guys! I got lost. She was closer now, so much closer. I got lost. I got lost, Vincent. I found something in the woods. She waved again, her hand in the air, moving back and forth. Shelly, don't come any closer. It was the first time that I admitted out loud that I didn't want her near me, that I knew something was wrong, that reality existed between us now, and it seemed to shut her up. She didn't say anything else. She just stared at me. She stared at me and smiled and waved. I don't know how much time passed. I was frozen with fear, standing there in the darkness. I didn't move an inch. Then, a light. A noise. Vince! I didn't dare look away from Shelly. She stopped waving, put her hand down, and tilted her head. The approaching beam, a flashlight, slid over her face. It was Shelly. With that little glimpse, that little shard of light, I remember thinking, maybe I had been wrong. Maybe I had been overreacting. But then I saw her smile, and I knew that I needed to get away from her, from this thing. Her smile, it was menacing and impossibly happy and tinged with a promise of violence and lathered in secrets that you never want to discover. Vince, have you found her? John's voice was distant, but it was getting closer. I didn't know how to answer him. She was standing right in front of me, but I knew that she wasn't. Then, without warning, Shelly turned around and sprinted into the woods, away from us, swallowed by the darkness, the tongue returning to the throat of the beast. I didn't ask her to stay. I didn't call out. I just stared. And then I swear I saw that black figure follow her deep into the woods. A few seconds later, John and Melissa got back to the campsite. I didn't tell them about what I had seen. John was completely out of his mind with worry, but he was better off not knowing. And I stand by that decision. I may have prevented another person going missing that night. Instead of searching more, we decided to call the police. After that, the rest of the night is a blur full of red and blue lights, condescending cops, and angry, worried parents. Shelly never came back. Nobody ever saw her again. To this day, the case is still open, and the police seem to get anonymous tips once a year. Shortly after this happened, there was a reported sighting in Newgate, and then there'll be a report from Grayton Heights, and then Ashpit, but I know they'll never find her. She's gone. Whether her body is still moving or not, she's gone. The only clue they found at the campsite was a huge clump of her hair, and nobody ever knew what to make of that. Her parents were destroyed by the disappearance of their daughter, understandably. But for the first few months after this happened, after I locked myself in my room and refused to leave, Shelly's mom would show up at my parents' house in Dowley, begging me to tell her the truth. I think she could see in my eyes that I knew more than what I had said. But I never told her. The truth would have killed her, I think. Because the truth killed me. Do you ever think about how present darkness is in your life? It's in black, unlit rooms, and it surrounds your house, besieging you every single night. There is no escaping the darkness. There is only surviving it. And sometimes I feel like we're all lucky to wake up in the morning, unhurt, unscathed, unchanged. It's the darkness that haunts me. The darkness and what lurks inside of it.